Okay, now let's look at how to run a linear regression on a graphing calculator. Now, you should have already run scatter plot or watched the video on how to run a scatter plot. So let's start there. The first thing I want to do is let's go to y equals and make sure clear that out. And then let's go to stat, edit, and your data should be there. And you have to make sure which one is your x and which one's your y. In this case, L1 is going to be my x variable, and my y variable is going to be L2. It doesn't matter which one it is, you just have to remember. In fact, you could have a lot of different pieces of data in here, and you just have to remember which is which. Okay, so I'm going to quit out of here. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to Stat. If you look at Stat right there, Stat gives me a menu, and I have Edit, Calc, and Tests. Remember, Edit was how we put their data into the spreadsheet. We're going to go to Calc, and you have a lot of big menus there. What we're going to do is we're going to go down to Linear Regression. This is the fourth one. There's actually two of them. If you keep going down, there's another one, which is 8. And if you notice, they're pretty similar, but what is A and what is B is different. So let's do number 4. And it's written, if you notice there, it's AX plus B. So that's the formula they're going to estimate, and A is going to be your estimate of your slope, and B your estimate of your intercept. So I'm going to hit enter there. Now, some of the newer calculators are driven by menus at this point, but on this one it's not. Here I'm going to type in first my x variable and then my y variable. So I'm going to go L1, and then I'm going to put a comma, and then L2. So remember, it's lin reg, and then it's your x variable, comma, y variable. And I'm just going to hit enter. And at that point, I get my results, and I'm going to go ahead and write those results down. So it's going to be A is equal to 1.247. I'm going to round to 3 decimal places. And B is equal to 28.217, right? Because the 5 rounds up. Now, if you notice R and R squared, I'm going to go ahead and write that down. R squared is 0.77. I'm not going to use that directly, but that's going to be an important piece of information. And I'm going to quit from there. And then I'm going to clear, just get everything clear. Now what I can do is I can do the scatter plot. So let's go ahead and do the scatter plot. In order to do the scatter plot, I go to second stat plot, make sure it's on, it is. And then let me show you what we did here. We did on, scatter plot, L1, L2. So I'm just going to hit graph. And the graph doesn't really look the way I want it to look, so I'm going to hit the zoom, and zoom gives me a nice little menu. If I go down to 9, it gives me zoom stat, which is going to give me a really nice, basically what that does is the computer tries to figure out what's the most appropriate zoom for what we're looking at right there, the particular graph we're doing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fit a line through there. So we already have our regression line, so I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to type this in. It's 1.247x, there's my x button right there, plus 28.217. And then I'm going to graph that, and it draws a line right through it. And that's how you do linear regression, just like that. Now from there I can also find the predicted value of y, if I want, for a given level of x. I can just go second, calc, and value, and let's say x is 50. If x is 50, then y would be 90.567. So you can actually find predicted values. You can find another predicted value. Let's hit second calc again. Second calc, and I'll hit value. Now watch what happens here. I hit 150, and it's not in the graph. So what I have to do there is I have to go back to the graph, and I need to zoom out. So I hit zoom and out. Now zoom out works just exactly like it does on Google Maps. Now you hit enter, and you zoom out, and now I'm going to try to hit second calc value, and let's do 150, and then it works. If it didn't work again, you could just zoom out now, or you could find the windows. Anyway, that's how you run the linear regression. Oh, what's the R squared? We wrote that down. That's 0.77.